Hello and welcome to the Decibel Boost podcast, the official music podcast of the website Surreal Resolution. I'm your host, Robert, and I am so glad I'm not Tana Mongeau right now. And with me, I have...
See you up there in the great gig in the sky, Vinnie Paul.
And...
I listened to 2 albums this month. It is not even over yet. I'm exhausted. Like...
Got 6 more days, pal.
Like for...
Wait,
yeah.
5 more days.
Yeah, like for real, like for real, this been surprise for us from Beyonce and Jay-Z. You know, I listen to them because I don't got Tidal. Apparently the album's on Spotify now because it's so...
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it was on Tidal exclusively for like 2 days before it went everywhere else.
Yeah, I've heard it, but if anyway, all those much come away from them, the West Side Gun Genre Project, and another project that I'm not gonna name yet because that's coming up in the songs. But anyway, the month's not even over yet, and I still listen to that Kamasi Washington album, which is 2.5 hours long.
Oh yeah, I gotta find the time for that. Although I want to listen to the Epic first, and that's 3 discs and 3 hours apparently. Lord of the Rings level musical content. Where does one find the time? I mean, you know, we gotta find it in between the shit posting and the making jokes about bad conventions.
I can't believe TinyCon was a failure. We didn't even get that premiere of Despacito 2 like we were promised.
I know, right? And the worst part was they kicked everyone out before they could get their processed cheese sandwiches and an extra hour in the ball pit. Seriously though, how does this happen again? It's like, there's no way you can't remember stuff like DashCon and then look at that and look at this and be like, I can pull it off.
I'll tell you how it happened. Some dumbass YouTuber person decided, you know, VidCon, I'm too big for them. I'm going to have my own convention with blackjack and hookers. Only there were no blackjack, nor were there hookers. There was just 20,000 preteen girls in a hotel ballroom that spent for like 1,000.
Damn.
Wow, that's, I'm not even sure I have a better joke for that.
And they were handing out condoms.
Why?
Okay.
Who is gonna go to an individual YouTuber hosted convention for the sake of getting laid? And although I suppose, to be fair, the type of person who thinks it's a good idea to get laid with a YouTuber should probably wear a condom. So yeah, episode 87. How's everything going with all y'all?
Well, personally, so far so good. I've had, for the first time in 2 weeks, more than 1 day off in succession because I ended up working 11 out of 13 days.
Yay?
Yeah, no, not yay. 6 days, a day off, 5 days, a day off. That's how overworked I've been.
Okay, no yay.
Yeah, definitely no yay. But I've just been enjoying some time to rest, thankfully. And I did something I haven't done in a while. I bought some CDs. Several, actually, because there's a good used store here in the city, Second and Charles, that sells a lot of great stuff. I ended up getting about a dozen CDs for $50, which that's a good deal. And I also picked up, finally, a CD copy of the Rivers of Nile Where Owls Know My Name album because I can't find it on vinyl anywhere. And I also bought a 2-disc album of the newest Tesseract album. The second disc is a 3D binaural audio mix that I mentioned a while ago with one song we talked about. I think it was last week. There was going to be some release of that. It's a really interesting concept. It sort of shifts the panning of the instruments to where it presents itself in a virtual 3D listening experience. It's pretty cool, and I would like to see more albums come out this way. It's a very unique experience. And aside from that, I've just been, resting at home because I have been completely overworked, if I haven't mentioned that before.
Yeah, it sounds interesting, that binaural stuff, however that's pronounced, actually. Mm-hmm. And who knows, maybe in 15 years we could get music that's recorded and, played back in the 4th dimension. Anyway, Mark, what about you?
Let's see. Like I said, it's been last week. Let's repeat. I'm doing mostly writing shit, and like I said, weather's gone crazy again. It'll be sunshine, then rain, sunshine, then rain, sunshine, then rain. And what's part about that is, you wear glasses like I do. We get in your hot ass car, it immediately fogs up your glasses. Like, what the fuck? I can't see. Like that shit.
Yeah, that's not fun. Yeah, the rain pounded down here too, on and off. To the point where you're pretty much cranking up those windshield wipers all the way. Which, now that I think about it, is probably a good thing I actually replaced those a few months ago. It was last month, I think. So, yeah. Anyway, as for me, well, I had quite a bit going on this past weekend. First off, on Friday, I had a show with my band up an hour north in, a place called Margate. That's a city area, town thing. So, that was a lot of fun. Thankfully, I didn't have to bring much of my stuff because the main act of that night was letting us backline on their kit. And, 99% of it was a nice kit, much nicer than mine. But, oh dear lord, me and Axis longboard pedals do not mix at all.
Oh, those kind of pedals. Yeesh.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just how they were designed or how the drummer in question, chose to configure him, but, it felt like when I tried to play, almost like I was playing against, a magnetic resistance. I had to press down twice as hard just to get it to hit the drum. It was kind of annoying.
I can tell you right now, those kind of pedals are pretty much designed for bass drum triggering.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
But, good set. There was beer drinking afterwards. And, of course, some chicken wings. I ordered garlic chicken wings at the bar, and literally just about chicken wings, but, with just a whole bunch of chopped garlic, scattered about on them. I mean, they were good wings, but, come on, you don't have, a sauce or anything? Mix that garlic in with the Parmesan and butter?
Plain garlic on wings sounds disgusting. And this is coming from someone who's Italian.
It's true. He knows everything about garlic. Or is that vampires?
It's both.
Ah, right. And then the day after that night, I had a concert that I went to. So, of course, I missed some good Toonami stuff. But on the bright side, I finally, after 10 years of missed opportunities, for the first time, finally got to see the Black Dahlia Murder live. And holy shit, it was so much goddamn fun. They did play quite a bit from Nightbringers. They busted out, some old classics, including What a Horrible Night to Have a Curse. And yeah, it just sounded like, although as much fun as the performances were, I think the venue was having sound issues that night, because with every other band that was on the bill, it seemed like the sounds were dropping out at, random times. And you could almost, tell, everyone was just kind of, looking at each other, and the guys on stage were just, playing through it anyway, even though, you couldn't hear them. Anyway, as for the other bands, of course, they were co-headlining with Whitechapel, who, need I remind you, were touring on the back of the 10th anniversary of This Is Exile, performing that entire album front to back, and man, does that take me back to my high school deathcore days.
That sounds like an awesome concert, and, I know the videos you put on Instagram. I am just... I wish my venue didn't have to close down. We got nothing over here. Nothing.
Also, there was Flesh God Apocalypse, and they were all dressed like very sophisticated bastards. Including Princess Veronica, who must be my bride. Then there were the other two bands. I think they were called Shadows of Intent and Aversion's Crown. They're alright, I guess. I don't respond to their styles too much, because they obviously weren't Whitechapel. And then, if there was anything else, oh yeah, I did finally see The Incredibles 2 this past weekend. I liked it, not as much as the first one though. Mostly because this one kind of felt more like you were almost binging through a Netflix Incredibles TV show. Just that kind of plot structure. It's there's these tangents that kind of, go off in their own directions, kind of don't fully get resolved, or like, it's just kind of all over the place in that TV show kind of way.
Yeah.
Also, the villain was kind of mad because it was mostly just like sort of a vague retread of Syndrome, i.e., I have this axe to grind against superheroes because of a very bad childhood experience where they did not live up to my idealized standard, so I shall now expose the farce of the concept and ruin it for everyone else. Pretty much.
I liked it. It was good.
I mean, I still liked it too. It had great animation and fight scenes. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think the Final Fantasy X ass counter racked up at around 30, I want to say.
Yeah.
And, okay, so I think that's about everything. So now let's, get back into the usual stuff. So as always, we start this off with the new song discussions of material from this past week. So, playlist down in the description, you know the drill by this point. So, since we're on the subject of metal primarily, let's kick off this discussion with some metal here. We have a new song and the new album announcement from technical death metalers Soreption, who have now signed to Sumerian Records to release their newest album, Monument of the End, on August 3rd. And the first single we have here is a song they actually wrote all about me, as you can tell by the title, King of Undisputed Nonsense. I don't have a lot of self-confidence.
It makes sense.
That is true. And, this is your pretty standard, technical death stuff. I know a lot of friends who are really into it, and that's how I heard of this band. You got those super heavy driving, guitar chugs mixed in with sort of like the noodly riffing, the very, tight syncopation, all in rhythm with like the drums, triggered to holy hell and everything. Lots of the blast beats and harmonics ahoy. Those vague rhythmic switch-ups between like halftime and double time. Some triplet stuff, all techy as fuck, and of course all the tremolo riffing and soloing in there. It's very technical, man. It's gonna wear out your hands, dude, if you try to play this shit.
Yeah, sonically it is very good. But personally, the feel just comes across as a bit too technical for me. There's just not enough nuance for me to get deep into it.
So what you're saying is it's still Rivers of Nile for now?
Yes, they are still my number one.
All right. So now let's move on from that to this here new project, this thing called Knife Knights, which has popped up on the internets recently. You want to tell us what it's all about, Mark?
All right, it is another project of the one and only Ishmael Butler, who you may know such groups such as Sebastian Palaces. Shit, I forgot the other one. Damn.
Diggable Planets.
Yeah, Diggable Planets. What the fuck? I forgot about that. Okay, anyway. It's you between him and the musician Eric Blood, and they got their newest song on there, Give You Game. And I'm gonna say you this: if you listen to a lot of Sebastian Palace songs, or anything with Ishmael Butler, you notice that it's very off kilter. It got that gurgling beat sound and these off kilter lyrics that you try to get, but you really can't because it's a mass palette, because it's Ishmael Butler, but yeah, this is some very ghastly weird shit. As of the video, which is supposed to be full of very pale nude bodies.
I know, right? It's like a deleted scene from Prometheus. I think that's what this movie was about. I have no idea what Prometheus was about.
I don't think anybody does.
I don't either.
Not even Ridley Scott. But yeah, it's pretty much in that line, that weird kind of ambient vibe, but maybe more like that alternative R&B kind of style than more abstract sort of hip-hop stuff. We just have to wait and see where this develops into. But let's move on from something interesting to something that is horrifically mundane.
Oh.
Yes, it seems Mr. Richard Ross has, released a new track here. Supposedly he has a new album coming at some point, or tape or whatever, but, knowing him, he's probably just gonna, randomly drop it, I don't know, in the middle of, a big sports game or something. Whatever the next big one is. And yeah, it's a track called Green Gucci Suit, and it features Future.
Oh, no.
The worst punchline in all of hip-hop, featuring Future. And yes, as you can tell, this is another entry into the pantheon of rap songs that name-drop fashionable designer brands a significant amount of times to the point of absurdity. Right up there with classics like Chanel or Versace. And, in fact, let's actually count just a handful of the Gucci items mentioned in this song. There is the green Gucci suit, there are Gucci boots, purple Gucci socks, which... Okay, green suit, purple socks. Is there like a Joker thing going on here? But like in reverse? Or would that just be the Riddler? I'm not sure. Green Gucci bag and green Gucci fur.
I say Joker did again. He was on the Suicide Squad.
Gucci clothes. Then the Gucci store. Green Gucci Rory. And apparently Future wants Gucci on the sink.
What?
Unless he's talking about, like, Gucci Mane being passed out after a party. I'm not sure who the fuck puts Gucci clothing on the sink. It seems like it would be really unsanitary.
Yeah, I was in the show again. When in one hand goes out the other, hearing Gucci being repeated so many times, I just remember, I don't give a shit at this point.
Also, there's a point where he's talking about people screaming "Free Meek Mill," which didn't he get like? Yeah. I forget when exactly this song went up, but didn't he get like released like in the time span this song came out?
Yeah, he's free now.
Yeah, Meek Mill's out. He's been out for a while.
He's free now.
So that line is outdated. Also, apparently there's some lyrics where Future is fucking around in Miami or whatever. Literally, because he name drops Little Haiti, Opelika, and, Dade County. Which means I have to be on the lookout for this guy. What if he busts through the door right now singing la-di-da-di-da, slob on me knob?
Oh. Well,
that's just nasty.
Yeah. But I would like to congratulate Future on one thing. The movie he did the music for, Superfly, is at 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. Exactly 50% higher than the movie Pitbull did music for, Gotti, which is at, 0%.
Well, he's got that going for him, sure. You can't argue with stats.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on from that to the ultimate example of us just putting a song here because we needed something to talk about. Okay, so these past few weeks, there's been this DC Comics, graphic novel thing called Dark Knight's Metal. And as, to be expected, as some tie-in, they've been, trying to get, various metal music artists to release songs to tie into this project. Perhaps most notably, a solo Brand Daler track. And I think another one that escapes me at the moment. I don't know, I didn't make a note of it here. But yeah, this week, as part of this project, is a new track featuring Alexis Krauss, frontwoman of Sleigh Bells. It's called War Cry, and of course she's handling the vocals. And as far as the instrumentation, we have bass courtesy of Mike Elizondo, who according to this is listed as having worked with Eminem and 21 Pilots.
I have heard that name before.
We do have Tyler Bates on guitar, Marilyn Manson guitarist, film and television composer for stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy and the last season of Samurai Jack. And drums courtesy of Gil Sharon, who I mainly know for his stint with the Dillinger Escape Plan. And, this song is just kind of the textbook definition of everyone in the studio is just waiting for the check to clear. Super simple, kind of generic swaggering hard rock, which isn't even all that fun because the production feels super limp, like whoever produced this only had 30 minutes. Yeah, it's just, it's literally just like autopilot songwriting, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, it comes across as competent anthemic rock, but nothing about it gets me all energized. And honestly, for songs that are supposed to be inspired by the comic series Dark Knight Metal, I was expecting more, metal, like that God of War Metal EP from 2010.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is what it is. Who knows how long this will still keep going on for. But let's move on from that to a unification of musical forces that actually provide some pleasing, interesting results. Ain't that right, Mark?
So you know him out there. He makes a collabs, right? Like this year he did a collab with Scarface, and we're still waiting for a certain project that I keep we're not gonna name. But anyway, he has a new song with paired up with producer DJ Muggs. He been known from Cypress Hill, right? And he brought another guest, somebody who just released a mixtape last week. That's right. He's Gangsta Gibbs himself, Freddie Gibbs, and they got a new track called Death Wish. And let's just say this is a combination that I didn't know I wanted until now. Like I love Doom and Gibbs, but I never thought of them being together on a track. And this is dark shit. This is some eerie horror movie feel shit. Like the way Doom on how beginning ends, like with Doom when he starts out like, we'll just rhyme straight across, clown shit took a loss, they jealous. And then Gibbs on this line, well, he's beginning, it's like, ambulance is rushing you, insurance deductibles, Nintendo Pack 38 next to my Lunchables, took on to the sweet, I made a drink, no Dr. Huxtable. Like, okay, goddamn. And then when it's in with niggas tie you on the loose leaking, put nigga face up on news station, once he see me eating tortellini, might try to keep me central hold, don't see me hold. What's the last line? Oh yeah, I'm gonna call me Freddie Gandolfini.
I gotta be honest, I always figured Freddie Gibbs was a pappardelle kind of guy and not a tortellini person.
I guess these pasta taste buds being questioned out something, but this is a fire track, and with this project, Muggs Doom project, which I don't know when it comes out. Hopefully soon, because I'm interested to see how that pair will work out. Even though it's like Doom over DJ Muggs production. Which I'm kind of interested to see how it turns out.
In a dirty kitchen, cooking up Christina. Hey, they actually did a thing where they named cocaine after a white girl.
Oh.
Anyway, speaking of kitchens and cooking, we have a new CupcakKe track here. It's called Hot Pockets. Hot Pockets. I can't wait to burn my mouth and freeze my mouth at completely random intervals. And yeah, it's another one-off single. It bangs like instrumentally, and she's just rapid fire flows, bragging, lots of food punchlines. The funniest part of the song to me is the thing that rappers do where they set up a punchline, say the punchline, but they take out like the transitional phrasing. The got me running back and forth soccer team. That whole thing. Oh. She does that in the song, and the funniest line is like, they can't handle me, bowl of hot soup.
Oh.
I mean, it's very much true. Have you ever handled a hot bowl of soup? It's very hot, and you just want to set it down on the nearest table immediately. God forbid if you have like a significant amount of space between your microwave and the counter or the table. Hand burns. Also, apparently she brings home cheese at every Thanksgiving, which... is generous, but outside of the context of deli sandwiches, I'm not exactly sure who eats turkey with cheese.
Okay.
I mean, unless you, put it in the stuffing, or you, you just stuff the turkey on its own with the cheese. And what kind of cheese? Manchego? Gorgonzola? I need to know what kind of cheese goes with turkey. Help me out here, CupcakKe.
Okay, I mean, I can understand this, but yeah, this song bangs. This is a definite fucking banger from CupcakKe once again.
Alright, and now we gotta talk about some shit that's just plain fucking weird when you really start to think about it. Oh, or maybe not, but okay. Ariana Grande finally announced, the release date and title of her newest album. It's called Sweetener, and it's coming out August 2017. And she released a single from the album, with the announcement. It's a track with Nicki Minaj called The Light Is Coming. And I know what you're thinking. Wait, didn't we already have a Nicki Minaj track featuring Ariana Grande just a week or two ago? And that is true. And this is... The best way I could describe this is almost kind of like the musical equivalent of Street Fighter Cross Tekken or Tekken Cross Street Fighter. And what makes this song so weird is the fact that despite it being an Ariana Grande track, you know, she's the star on this album, the beat sounds like it would belong more on a Nicki Minaj album.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm pretty sure I said the same thing vice versa with that last Nicki Minaj single. The instrumental sounds more like it would be an Ariana Grande track. So it's like, did something get screwed up in the contracts or whatever? Is there, like, some weird cross-promotion strategy that got lost in the mix? I mean, like, okay, the beat for this thing, first off, is just really annoying. It sounds like a freaking nerd instrumental, like off that last album, which I still haven't heard, but God, I'm sick of those singles. And, you know, Ariana just sounds really weird singing over this, you know, especially when you combine the fact that her vocal flow is still as, like, obscured as, like, the visuals of the music video, where they're, like, basically reenacting a Let's Play of Slender the 8 Pages. And, you know, just, you know, Minaj, again, she opens with a reference to, like, that freaking Chun-Li track, where she's like, now I'm the bad guy, call me Chun-Li, even though, Nikki, again, Chun-Li is one of the good guys of that series. She works for Interpol. That kind of means good guy by default. You can Google this. I mean, if you had to Google Chun-Li, I'm sure you saw that on, like, a fan wiki or something. And, you know, I'll say one nice thing about the song is that I do kind of like the chorus lyric of, the light is coming, give back everything the darkness stole. You know, the whole thing is basically a diss track against, like, an ex-boyfriend or whatever, and while I'll admit Ariana's performance is not convincing, as a lyric, the metaphor there actually is fairly solid and isn't overly stupid. It works, you know, it works perfectly well without too much in the way of offensiveness in terms of intellect or whatever. It's okay. Everything else, though, is just kind of like the bad kind of okay.
Yeah, this whole experience with song is very weird. Like, yes, the beat does sound like, it would be from Nicki Minaj. It would be from Untitled, and considering they're both on the same record label. Since you mentioned nerd, guess who produced this beat? Come on. Okay, fine, for real. Okay.
Mustard?
No, for real. Okay, fuck it, for real. Wait, Pharrell did this beat. So this is the reason why you keep myself.
Oh, that's why it sounds like nerd shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, this whole song got me head scratching weird, and at first when I heard it tune, I was like, I want to say something like, you know what? Nah, I'm like, fuck it. I can't say that. I can't let you anymore. It does feel like a bit kind of left field of Ariana to do, because, like, I mean, it ain't a usual thing, but it's like, okay, and this is a very middle of the road, head scratching. I don't know. Can I get a drink? Okay.
Yeah. So I guess those are 2 August releases that we're going to be, maybe trying to swerve past, although maybe Morbid Curiosity brings us there. We shall see. But now, let's move on to the last song on the list here. And, note, this one was technically premiered via late night television, which means in order for us to listen to it, we had to endure exactly 13 seconds of Jimmy Fallon. But maybe it was worth it, because here we're talking about a group that I've brought up quite a few times on the album roundups, but I think this might be the first time we're actually talking about them proper in a mainline podcast episode. Yes, it is, time to finally talk about the best boy band since One Direction. That's right, it's Brockhampton, who have been going through some shit recently, if you may have saw, which ultimately led up to member Amir Van getting kicked out of the group after, you know, their performance at Boston Calling, which, last I checked, led to one of the members even breaking down crying on stage. Yeah.
Damn.
But, here's what we do know. They went on Jimmy Fallon, and they premiered a brand new track. It's a song called Tonya, and they even unveiled the title and album artwork for their upcoming 4th full-length album, The Best Years of Our Lives. No release date, but at least we know now it's not called Puppy. Or whatever was the other filler name that I think Kevin Abstract came up with. He's always coming up with weird ways to announce this shit. It's weird. But, you know, as the first taste of their new album, it's decidedly more ballady and somber than, I mean, okay, it's not like they haven't done introspective songs in the past, but this one is straight up like some John Legend Adele type, stuff. It goes through its various verses with like its various members. So that first verse, that's the member Bareface, super auto-tuned, delivering, bars about like his own paranoia about like drug abuse and everything. Is like, and I think about if we lose it all and I turn to shit that you never want to, like the smoke, the drink, anything at all that kind of, the stress of life forcing you to do shit you don't want to do. And then, of course, next verse is, the ringleader of this whole thing, Kevin Abstract, And, again, he's talking about his relationship with his fame, how he just wants to disconnect from social media and just, go away. I deleted Facebook. I'll trade fame any day for a quiet Texas place and a barbecue plate, which...
Yeah, that sounds good.
Texas barbecue. And then, of course, in his verse, there's also a certain line in there, I feel like brothers lie just so my feelings don't get hurt. Wonder who he could be talking about there. And then, anyway, verse 3, Don McGlennon, another verse about... He's always been... What he sings most about on Brockhampton songs is usually, like, his own mental health issues and how he copes with them. He's very open about that stuff. And on this verse in particular, he's sort of like... he brings up his relationships with, like, his friends and family, how he feels a certain unease with that and how that may have contributed to his problems somewhat, going as far as invoking Stockholm Syndrome. And then, of course, verse 4, Merlin singing about how his parents never really approved of his dreams all that much. Daddy said study hard or get that cash. Mommy said your career ain't gonna last. And, well, look at where he is here.
Yeah, man, mama!
There's some contributions here and there from a couple other Brockhampton members, specifically Joba. Add some vocal backing in the bridge. He's the guy that's sitting on the piano in that performance, which is kind of interesting because he's not normally the ballad type. Like, from most of what I know of Brockhampton, like, he's usually the very yelpy voiced guy that sings on a lot of their bangers and whatnot. And then, of course, some, screams of I Don't Matter, courtesy of member Matt Champion. And overall, I'd say... Again, as a very deeply introspective kind of thing, especially given the drama that happened over the past month or two, it pretty much does exactly what it needs to do. It works very well as that kind of deeply emotional sort of song.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, even though I haven't listened to a Brockhampton song in full, other than one or two, it looks pretty solid. And while I do want to listen to the albums, now it's like, now with the whole shit found, I was like, oh damn. I still want to listen to it, but it's like, but yeah, we had to go do their damn thing.
Well, let's look at it like this. They actually did kick the guy out of the band. So,
okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. They did kick him out.
So, there's that to keep in mind. Now we just need a release date already. And more, cryptic teases from Mr. Abstract here, living up to his last name. If that is his last name. But yeah, that's basically about it for the news song discussion, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we got a couple of news topics here, so see you after the break. And we're back. We only have 2 news topics to discuss here, but they're, interestingly enough, both metal related, so maybe this will compensate for the lack of any interesting metal songs to have, come out these past couple of weeks. When we're scraping the bottom of the barrel for DC Comics tie-in stuff, you kind of know we have to find something else.
It's been very slow.
Alright, so first off, it's been about a month since the last Maryland Deathfest took place. So, of course, it's just about time to start announcing bands for the 2019 edition of Maryland Deathfest, taking place from May 23rd to the 26th in, Maryland. Of course, that's where that is where a Maryland Deathfest would take place. But, of course, they made the first announcement. We have the first 25 bands here. So, thus far, we have Bethlehem from Germany, they had to list that there for some reason. An exclusive U.S. appearance by Blood, also from Germany. Ooh, Death Metalers Brutality, interesting. The Chasm, we got the Cro-Mags, DRI, so, working in some more hardcore stuff in there. Frightmare. Oh shit, it's the #1 album of 2017, band Full of Hell, they're playing, hell yeah. Grotesque Organ Defilement, such an obscene name for a band from Canada. Guttural Secrete, Hideous, Immolation, Indian, of course, the dankest meme band on this list, fucking Mortician, people! Seriously, true story, like, all my metalhead friends on Facebook, they're always sharing memes from this one page called I Make Memes While Listening to Mortician. It's the new big thing in metal meming. In fact, true story, some of you might remember Chris, who joined me and Alex in discussing that Rolling Stone Top 100 Albums list, aka Up Until 4 in the morning. Never again.
Yeah, because I had to work 2 hours later. I didn't know about it until that following morning.
So anyway, he told me, true story, that when he went to Maryland Deathfest this year, he was staying on the same floor in the same hotel as the admins of that Mortician meme page, and he even scored a pin off of them, which is the page's logo, which is Ice-T photoshopped with a Mortician logo on his merch, and, the band page in circular text, because, brutal. So, dank memes do come true after all. Don't let the memes be dreams! Anyway, moving on from that, we have Ultra Tomb, also from Canada, Pestilence from the Netherlands, Scour, Scaife, Squash Bowels from Poland, Sulaco, Tomb Mold from Canada, an exclusive U.S. appearance by Swedish metal act Unanimated, Vault Dweller, Violator from Brazil, also making an exclusive U.S. appearance, and last but not least, yet another exclusive U.S. appearance from Swedish act Vomitory. So, for all the super intense metal people out in the crowd, we're sure you're all having just a ball of a time with this. I wish I could go, but I'm probably going to be broke.
Yeah, and this seems a little too far to the extreme side for my liking, so I'll sit this one out. Also, I can't drive to Baltimore on account of I don't have money either.
Yeah, but at least you can reasonably justify, at least to a bigger degree than I could, actually driving there. Because, for me, I gotta drive like 7 hours just to get out of Florida. Everything is terrible. But anyway, now on to our other news topic. Have you heard of this thing called the Kerrang Awards?
Yes, I have.
Well, apparently it's not to be confused with other awards like, Loudwire or, Revolver or Metal Hammer or... Man, there's a lot of these friggin' things. Holy shit.
Yeah, there are a lot of award shows. In fact, there is such a thing as the Radio Disney Music Awards now for some reason. And that is exactly why we only cover 3 award shows max. The VMAs, the Grammys, and the Revolver Golden Gods whenever they do it.
Revolver Music Awards now. You have to get the branding right.
Oh, fine, whatever. It's the show that goes on for way too long and has terrible dad jokes.
So basically the Grammys. Oh!
Yeah.
So anyway, let's actually talk about these, nominees and winners of this whole thing. So, alright, so, starting at the top, Best British Breakthrough. I have no idea who any of these bands are. The winner was Dream State, and the other nominees were Employed to Serve, Conjurer, Boston Manor, and Venom Prison. And the Metal Injection piece here tells me to get disappointed that Employed to Serve did not win, but why would I care? I've never even heard of them before. You want to talk about Best International Breakthrough?
Sure. Oh, boy, this is not a very good list, but for this category, we have the following. Code Orange, Led Zeppelin, Greta Van Fleet, Turnstile, The Fever 333, and Water Parks. And, of course, it went to Code Orange.
I don't know. I'm grading on a scale here, but technically I'd want the Fever 333. Because again, they have Eric and Prota, and that guy is the best drummer ever. Or at least one of the best currently working. But, that's a tangent. Anyway, let's go to Best Song. The winner is In Bloom by Neck Deep. The other nominees were Major System Error by Marmozets, Doomsday by Architects, Crossing a Line by Mike Shinoda, and Kill For Me by Marilyn Manson. Who, yes, he still does record music apparently. Who knew?
Huh.
Anyway, Best Album. The winner was Enter Shikari's The Spark. And the other nominees were Foo Fighters, Disappointment in Gold. Concrete in Gold. Sorry. A Perfect Circle, Eats the Elephant. Marmozets, Knowing What You Know Now. And it should have gone to Rollo Tomasi's Time Will Die and Love Will Bury It. But whatever, I'm not in charge of the voting here. What about Best British Live Act? You want to talk that one, sir?
Sure. Now, I'll be honest, I have no idea who any of these bands are. I'm a little out of the blue, but I can tell you this. The winner was Architects, and the runners-up were Creeper, Biffy Clyro, Enter Shikari, and Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes.
Does Carter have those rattlesnakes in his boots?
Possibly.
Meanwhile, I'm sure something you would recognize is Best International Live Act, which seems to mostly just center on American native bands.
Yeah. Well, for this one, we have the following nominees. Code Orange, Foo Fighters, Guns N' Roses, Converge, and Metallica. It went to Foo Fighters. I will not judge it, but I will say...
After that last album, it does kind of make you scratch your head a little bit.
Yeah.
Unless they're building off of cumulative reputation, in which case I'm surprised they didn't give it to Metallica, but whatever, I don't make the rules. Okay, Best British Band. The winner was Biffy Clyro, against the other nominees, Architects, Enter Shikari, Royal Blood, and Iron Maiden.
Oh, isn't that something?
I suppose it is, yes. These Biffy Clyro fellows must be something special. Or maybe something overhyped, I wouldn't know, I've never listened to them. Never found the time. And as for Best International Band, you got the winner, again, Foo Fighters. Okay. And the other nominees are Linkin Park, Metallica, Green Day, and no one else.
AKA Parkway Drive.
Now that's what we call a comedic callback, kids. Although, again, bands that are primarily American with one from Australia. Because I guess that counts as international.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the other awards, which literally just lists the winner and no one else. Kerrang Inspiration goes to Joe Perry. The Kerrang Legend goes to... But what does Corey Taylor think about this award? And, of course, the Kerrang Icon goes to Tony Iommi. Well, at least this one didn't come attached with the 3.5-hour long awards show. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this just seems like it leans significantly more mainstream than something like, say, the Revolver Awards or even the Metal Hammer ones. At least that had some diversity in names.
Yeah, Kerrang is more of the mainstream UK rock magazine as opposed to, say, anything else.
That is true. That is true. But, I mean, that's basically it on that. So, now we just have to take care of the last bit of business here. That is the new album releases for the week of June 29th, 2018. Starting at the top, we have the latest disappointment from Bullet for My Valentine with Gravity. We got a new project from prog band Night Verses with From the Gallery of Sleep. The newest album from Florence and the Machine with High as Hope. Of course, the latest studio album from Gorillaz with The Now Now. For all the jazz heads out there, we're finally getting the Lost album from none other than John Coltrane, both directions at once. There's the new E40 project called The Gift of Gab, and finally the new double, supposedly, album from Drake with Scorpion.
Oh boy,
album.
That's gonna be a lot of fun for you guys.
What do you mean, you guys? I'm not listening to that shit. That's what I got my lackeys for.
Hey! I'm doing Blow Up My Valentine. That's as far as I'm going.
Oh, I know. I'm talking about Mark here.
We all have our bullet to dive into.
So anyway,
never mind.
That's right. Never mind. You work for me. Anyway, time to clean house and get on out of here. So, Alex, where can they find you on the internet?
As always, Aura of Azure, wherever you have a network on the internet where I'm going through, at some point in the day, the discography of Bullet for My Valentine, and it may or may not devolve into the rock critic-inspired rise and fall of BFMV thread at some point. I'm just preparing myself for Friday because I'm going to need all the preparation I can get.
Yes, clearly. Mark, what about you?
You can follow me on Twitter at MattHeavyMedia, as always, and you can check out my site, The Minor Hyper One, at hyperone.wordpress.com. As you may notice, I just finished my time of the season, spring 2018 wrap up, and yes, Alex, Magical Girl site is the worst try-hard garbage of the year.
It ended with guy-on-guy rape. Oh boy, we're going to have fun talking about that on my show.
Oh boy. But yes, that show sucked ass. Let's move on.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and CuriousCat at Rob Barracuda. Email me, robert@surrealresolution.com for all questions, concerns, and inquiries. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast on Google Play and iTunes. New audio-only episodes go up every Wednesday. Video usually goes up by the weekend on the official YouTube channel of Surreal Resolution. Subscribe and hit the bell tab so you're always notified when new stuff goes up there. Be sure to visit us, surrealresolution.com, follow us on Twitter at SurrealReso, like us on Facebook, and find this podcast on decibelboost.surrealresolution.com. Listen to that, and listen to Podcast O&A as well, where there will be anime memes. Spoiler, there will not be anime memes.
Well, there might be. Anime Expo is coming up.
Oh, sweet. So, potential. Be sure to keep up with our written content as well. I will hopefully, sometime this week be getting a review of that new Death Grips project. Maybe we'll see if I can get it out before the melon does.
Time's ticking.
Tick.
Oh, and as for me, I'm gonna be reviewing the surprise Freddie Gibbs mixtape, Freddie.
And I still gotta get that Fully Coolly Progressive thing out.
Yeah, that too.
Anyway, be sure to jump into our Discord if you ever want to share some dank memes or, argue with us about our food taste or whatever. And, of course, shout out to the producer, Mr.E, for graciously letting me use his music for this podcast. Links to his shit down in the description. So, thank you for listening this week. This has been episode 87. Be sure to stick around next week. And, until next time... Seriously, who the fuck is Tana Mongeau?
Who?